Hey, my name is Faisal Ahmad. Welcome to my channel, Skill Tech.
So, let's start the lecture now.
So, machine learning. You hear that term thrown around all the time, right? But what does it actually mean? Well, it's not just some tech buzzword. It's this incredibly powerful technology that's pretty much shaping our entire digital world. So today, we're going to pull back the curtain and see exactly how this whole thing works.
I mean, have you ever stopped to wonder, how does your email know what's spam and what's not? Or how does your favorite streaming service seem to read your mind and recommend the perfect movie? It's not like there are thousands of little elves in your computer sorting everything. Nope. The secret sauce, the engine running behind the scenes, that's machine learning.
All right, so what is this thing? At its core, machine learning is a complete flip, a total shift away from how we've programmed computers for, well, forever. Okay, let's really zoom in on two phrases here because they're crucial. First, learn patterns from data. That means instead of us telling the computer what to look for, it figures out the connections all by itself. And the second one, without being explicitly programmed. This is the real game changer. And it brings us to what is probably the single most important idea in this whole explainer. Seriously, this next slide, this gets to the absolute heart of it. If you get this one concept, you've pretty much got the big aha moment of machine learning. So here's the fundamental difference, the big idea. Think of it this way. Traditional programming is like telling. You write a super specific, rigid set of rules. You literally code, if an email contains the words free money, then mark it as spam. The computer just follows your exact instructions, step by step. But machine learning, that's like teaching. You don't give it the rules. You just show it thousands and thousands of examples. This is spam, this isn't. And you say, okay, you figure it out. The computer learns from experience. It's a totally different way of thinking. Okay, so now we know what it is. The next logical question is, how does it work? Well, it turns out there are basically three main ways or styles that machines learn. And to make it stick, let's think of them as three different personas: the teacher, the detective, and the gamer. So here's a super quick look at our three learning styles. You've got supervised learning, which uses labeled data to predict stuff. Then there's unsupervised learning, which is all about discovering hidden structures in unlabeled data. And finally, reinforcement learning, which is learning by good old trial and error. So let's dive into each one, starting with our teacher, supervised learning.
All right, supervised learning, this one is probably the easiest to understand. It's basically like studying for a test with an answer key. You feed the machine a ton of data that's already been labeled. So think thousands of photos where each one is already tagged as either cat or dog. The machine pores over all these examples, learning the patterns. Cats have pointy ears and whiskers, dogs have floppy ears and snouts. Then, when you show it a totally new picture it's never seen before, it can make a really, really good guess about what it is. This is the go-to method for things like prediction and classification.
Next up, we have our detective unsupervised learning. Now this is totally different. Here, you just dump a massive pile of data on the machine with no labels, no answer key, nothing. You just say, go find something interesting. Its job is to find hidden patterns and structures all on its own. A classic example is customer data. You could feed it a bunch of purchasing information and it might come back and say, hey, did you know you actually have three totally distinct groups of shoppers? Things you never would have noticed. This is how businesses create that super targeted marketing that feels like it's reading your mind. It's all about discovery. And last but not least, we have the gamer, reinforcement learning. And I gotta say, this one is just cool. Imagine an AI playing a video game for the very first time. It has no idea what to do, so it just starts mashing buttons, right? When something good happens, like its score goes up, it gets a little digital reward. When it messes up and crashes, it gets a penalty. And it does this millions and millions of times, learning from every single success and failure until it figures out the absolute best strategy to get the highest score. It's pure trial and error. This isn't just for games either. This is the same idea used to teach robots how to walk. Okay, so that's the theory, but let's bring this back down to earth. Where do you actually see this stuff in your day-to-day life? Well, the truth is, it's everywhere. Let's connect these learning styles to things you probably used like 5 minutes ago. And here's where it all clicks into place. Remember that spam filter we talked about at the very beginning? That's classic supervised learning. It was trained on tons of emails already labeled spam and not spam. And those recommendation engines on streaming services or shopping sites you might also like? That's unsupervised learning, finding patterns and grouping you with people who have similar tastes. And of course, those super smart AI opponents in video games or those advanced robots you see, yep, you guessed it, That's reinforcement learning in action. So look, if you walk away with just one thing from all this, let it be this. Machine learning isn't magic. It's not some unknowable black box. It's simply a way to build computer systems that can improve automatically through experience. They don't just follow rigid instructions, they actually get smarter and more accurate all on their own, just by learning from data.
And that brings us to a really fascinating question to leave you with. As these machines get better and better at learning, as they start mastering tasks that we always thought were uniquely human, what does that mean for us? What skills are left that will become even more valuable? Things like creativity, empathy, asking the right questions. In a world full of machines that learn, maybe the most important thing is figuring out what it truly means to be human. Definitely something to think about.